Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new, my name is Mel and I love to cook, especially for other people. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and stick around. Today I've got 4 recipes to share with you that are perfect for summer because they do not require the use of an oven. And if you're like me, it's very hot where I live. Today was 109 degrees. You don't want to turn on your oven. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I made this week that did not require an oven. To get started, we're going to make this Swiss Cobb salad, and I will link the original recipe down below for you. I had to change mine just a little bit. To begin, I am just making some bacon here in my skillet. I believe I cooked about 5 pieces total. While that was cooking, I went ahead and got started on my dressing. So I went ahead and added 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of honey mustard, a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, and just a few shakes of pepper. I'm going to get that mixed together, and I only made enough dressing for myself because I know that my husband would not like this dressing. I love vinaigrettes, all types of dressings, but he's a little bit more picky than me. So if you do choose to make this dressing, follow the actual recipe, that way you can make enough for you and everyone else. Next, for the lettuce, I'm chopping up just a little bit of iceberg lettuce and splitting it between both of our bowls. I'm also chopping up some spring mix. Now I'm chopping 1 hard-boiled egg up, and that one is just going to go on my salad. My husband does not like hard-boiled eggs on his salad. A little bit of Roma tomato. Again, I'm eating that, not my husband. I did add some Swiss cheese in there. I don't know if you can see that there in the corner. I evidently did not get it on camera, but you'll just add a handful of Swiss cheese to your salad. I had some lunch meat honey ham on hand, so I went ahead and just chopped that up, but you can also use diced ham that you buy at the store. And now that my bacon has cooled down, I'm also going to chop that bacon up and split it between both of the salads. Here is what my finished bowl looked like. The original salad has some roast beef in it. I did not have roast beef this time, but this salad was still so delicious. I love salads for dinner in the summertime. They're just so light and they don't make you feel too gross when it's really hot. I'm just adding my dressing over the top, as you can see, and then going to give that a mix together. This is one of my favorite salads to make. I definitely love that vinaigrette. And if you want to make it, like I said, I will link the actual recipe down below. So I would advise you to follow that one. Next up, we're making something I haven't made in quite some time, chicken Cordon Bleu Quesadillas. Into my nice big cast iron skillet, I have some olive oil heating up here. I'm going to go ahead and cook up 2 chicken breasts. I did just go ahead and slice these chicken breasts in half to make 4 pieces. That way there would be more surface area cooked with more seasoning, and they just cook faster this way. To season my chicken breasts, I'm just adding a small amount of garlic and pepper. I did not add salt because the ham that you add into this later is very salty, so I didn't think it was necessary. Now getting started on our sauce, you're going to need a small little saucepan. Go ahead and melt 1 tablespoon of butter in there, and then add in 1 tablespoon of flour. With 1 crushed chicken bouillon cube, you want to make sure you crush that as fine as you can. Get that all mixed together using a small whisk. I'm going to continue to stir that until it has cooked for about a minute or 2. Slowly, I'm now going to whisk in 1 cup of milk. I believe I was using half and half just because that's what I had on hand. You'll go ahead and slowly add that in, whisking as you go. It will start to slightly thicken up towards the end, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and keep adding a few more ingredients. Now add 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, a shake of hot sauce. This is the one I use. It's just a very inexpensive hot sauce. Very last thing you're going to add into this sauce is 2/3 cup of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese. You don't want to use the already shredded. It does not work as well. Trust me, I've done that before and it just clumps up in here. You want to make sure you get a wedge and shred it fresh yourself. Just like with the milk, slowly adding in this Parmesan cheese is the way to go, whisking between each addition. Once all of the cheese is melted, go ahead and just turn the burner off and let it sit there while you finish up with your other ingredients. It will continue to thicken up. Once all my chicken was cooked and cooled down enough for me to handle, I just chopped it up into nice small little cubes. Now I'm going to be using my griddle for this recipe, but you can also use a skillet or a Blackstone, all would work just fine. I buttered 2 areas on my griddle for 2 tortillas, and now on top of half of the tortilla I'm going to add a handful of shredded Swiss cheese. You will also need about 1 pound of honey ham for this recipe. If you don't like honey ham, go ahead and replace it with a different kind of ham, that's fine. And then on top of your ham, you'll add a handful of your chopped chicken. Drizzle over a spoonful of the sauce that we made. And then to finish these off, you'll need 1 slice of provolone cheese. I just broke mine in half to make it fit a little bit better over the top. And then you can just flip the tops of these over and let these finish browning on both sides. Here's what my finished plate looked like. These really do come together very quickly, especially if you're cooking on a griddle or a Blackstone where you can cook several of them at one time. And these are really great dipping them in the extra sauce. That's how I love to eat them. Overall, super delicious and filling meal. Next, I'm going to show you how to make these fish tacos. These are something I love to make for lunches. They're delicious. I went ahead and sliced up 2 small pieces of cod. Like I said, just making this for lunch, so I didn't make a lot. Once those are all sliced up, I'm adding them into a bowl, and then I'm going to cover these with some half and half. If you don't have half and half, just use milk, buttermilk, or heavy cream. It doesn't matter, they just need to sit in here for a little while. I'm also adding about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and about a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder and a few shakes of black pepper. I shook these up to make sure all the seasoning is combined in there and let these sit for about an hour. Into this separate bowl, I'm adding about 3/4 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, and a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Go ahead and get that combined, and then we're going to start dipping our fish in here. Today I'm going to be cooking these in my air fryer, but you definitely do not have to use an air fryer. I've made these many times in a skillet on the stovetop, and they do come out a little bit more golden brown and look nicer that way, but cooking them in the air fryer, you don't have to cover them in as much oil, which is great if you don't like to eat a lot of oil. I'm just taking my fish out of the half and half, adding it into that flour mixture, and then transferring it into my air fryer. I realized I did not show you guys that I sprayed the tops of my fish with a little bit of olive oil spray, not heavily, just a little bit so they would brown nicely. I cooked this fish on 375 degrees for around 7 minutes. You definitely want to make sure you temper your fish to make sure it is done. My favorite part is the sauce on these. I'm adding in about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise in here. Make sure it's not Miracle Whip, you want to use mayonnaise. And 1 tablespoon of sriracha. You'll just mix this together, and then this is going to go over top of your tacos. I could eat this with a spoon. I love mayonnaise, I love sriracha, so you know it's one of my favorite sauces. Here's what they look like when they are done in the air fryer. As you can see, they don't get as golden brown as they would if you cook them in a skillet, but they're still really good. Here's what my finished plate looked like. I just added that sauce we made on top with a little bit of pico, and I added some fresh limes on there. Squeezing that lime juice on top is really, really good. I did just serve mine on top of these little street tortillas, and this is plenty for lunch. It's so delicious. I end up with about 4 of these little tacos, so it's enough for both me and my husband. Last but not least, I don't know why I have not shared this recipe sooner. I love meal prepping this for the week to have for lunches. It's so good. We are making air fryer veggies and chicken sausage. Into this large bowl, I'm chopping up a half of a red onion. This one was pretty large. You're going to want to cut these pieces into bigger bite-sized pieces, along with 1 orange bell pepper, cutting it the same way, 1 red bell pepper, and 1 zucchini. I did slice the zucchini in half and cut it into half moons. Last but not least, you will need a package of chicken sausage. I like to use the Chipotle one. It has some cheese in it. That's what those little white parts are inside of it. And it also has a little bit of spice, which makes this even better. After adding everything into my bowl, I'm going to drizzle it with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil and then get it mixed together. Now we're going to add seasonings. I have 1 tablespoon of ranch seasoning, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a half teaspoon of salt, and just a few shakes of pepper. I'm going to get that combined and make sure those seasonings are all throughout. And now I'm adding half of this mixture into my air fryer. My air fryer basket isn't very big, so I went ahead and did 2 batches. I'm cooking these on 390 degrees for 10 minutes. When I cook the second batch, I'll only cook it for 8 minutes since the air fryer is already preheated. Here is what my plate looked like. I love making this for lunches. I think I said that earlier. Usually I'll eat this with a little bit of cottage cheese, but this is also really good over top of rice. I will portion this out into 4 different containers, and then it's enough for me to have for 4 days out of the week, and it keeps my lunches pretty healthy and light. Leave me a flower down below if you made it to the end of this video, and I just want to say thank you so much for being here and watching today's video. It means the world to me. I thank you so much for supporting my little hobby here, and I will see you guys back here on Sunday. Bye!